and I want to tell you a few stories about the schools I've been to. My first story is not a very exciting story. At my old school, we sat in desks in neat little rows. We learned by using textbooks that other students had used many times before. We had uniforms, so we all looked the same. Here's another story. It's a little bit happier. At my second school, the cafeteria food was disgusting. We went on some field trips. We went on 2 per year. The school was great because when kids had a hard time paying attention, our teachers could help us use strategies to stay focused. But the problem was that the teachers ran out of strategies to help the students stay focused. It was kind of old-fashioned, so the students were kind of wild. I think that was a problem. Here's another story. It's the story I'm living right now. At my school, I go to a school called AltSchool. It's way different than most other schools. Instead of desks, we have couches and beanbags. Instead of textbooks, we have laptops, tablets, Post-it notes, and books. When we are hungry, we can eat and work. When we have ideas, we can share them and usually act on them. We use critical thinking skills and creativity on a daily basis. It might not seem like we're doing work, but here is some things that we did that will blow your mind. We wrote novels when we were learning about narrative writing. We wrote essays about our Halloween costumes. We built system maps out of wooden nails to plan those essays out. Instead of learning things from a textbook, we go on tons of field trips to truly experience of what we're learning. We go on field trips a couple times per month. We take the city bus, or we walk, or we take shuttles. This year our main topic was systems. We created government systems in our classroom and applied for jobs and got paid. We experienced systems like the sewage system in our city. We collected water from various ecosystems to look at under the microscope. We built models of ancient technology systems and discovered how those old systems evolved into the systems we have today. We wanted to change the systems in our world to be better for the future. When my friend Carly and I thought about the education system, we thought there was something that was missing, something that was broken. Maybe not for us at our school, but for the other kids at my old school, or in some other traditional school. Schools that go on cliché field trips instead of learning from the real world. We wanted to figure out how to help other schools go on more authentic field trips. Let me tell you about how we attempted this and the challenges we faced. We asked the school if they wanted to be a part of our research, but when we asked about why they couldn't go on more field trips, we came across one of the school's problems. Field trips cost money that the school doesn't have. They get a number of field trips they get to go on and use it however they want. Time was running out on our public school idea, so we tried something else. We got help from an expert and got the idea, why not take another AltSchool campus on a field trip, even though the class also gets to go on a lot of field trips. It would give Carly and I the chance to practice planning a field trip and leading a class, and also tell the kids about how unfair it is that some other schools don't get many opportunities for field trips. We got in touch with the teachers at an AltSchool in Alamo Square. Since it was the end of the year, the rest of the weeks were jam-packed, and a field trip was not possible. But then the teachers asked Carly and I to come in and teach a lesson at the school instead. It wasn't exactly a field trip, but it was a classroom experience, which is similar to a field trip. The Alamo kids were learning about science, so Carly and I decided to teach the kids how to make ice cream. We wanted to make ice cream because it has a lot of science systems involved in the making, and ice cream is tasty. It was really fun and the kids enjoyed it. My mom and my teacher, Vince, were there to help Carly and I. We learned many things by leading an experience like this for another class. First, we learned that even though we are middle schoolers, planning an experience for another class isn't that hard. It felt easy to coordinate with schools that were part of AltSchool's network because we had access to their teachers and we knew that they shared a similar philosophy about education. But we learned something different by trying to plan a field trip for a public school. We learned that this is much more challenging, even if a teacher wants to go on more field trips. They don't really get a say. Principals or districts often limit the number of types of field trips a class can take. We learned about the No Child Left Behind Act and how public schools focus more on teaching kids to do well, on how many public schools focus more on teaching kids to do well on standardized tests than teaching through experiences. There has also been budget cuts in school districts, which means there is less money for field trips. We thought we could show teachers that there are lots of options for free field trips. But it might not be about the money. Instead, it seems to be about the time that needs to be spent teaching standards and for standardized tests. We also have researched some options for teachers in public schools. There are people that can come in and provide engaging experiences for students, rather than having them sit at their desks with their faces in their textbooks. Teachers can create lessons that engage their students in their learning instead of having them resent their education. We think that it is very important that students in schools have access to engaging experiential learning practices. The research is clear on why these kinds of experiences and approaches are better for students in schools, and we believe that everyone should have access to experiential learning environments. We believe that by raising awareness, we can inspire others to continue to work on this problem, and that one day most, if not all schools, will be using experiential learning to teach students about the world around them. If you have children in school, we encourage you to get involved by suggesting field trips to your child's teachers, donating resources, time, or money to your child's classroom, researching new and exciting ways to learn in the classroom, and presenting that research to your child's teacher, and encourage your friends to do the same within their schools and communities. We are aware that this problem is bigger than us and will take the hard work and big effort by many people for change to occur. Please join us in making a real change in education. Thank you.